Oh my.
When we first met Jamaican Candy Rowe and her husband Marvin in 2016, they were a few years into their life living in rural Japan. In our initial interview on the Black Expat, they chronicled their experiences leaving their home country and moving across the world for a professional opportunity that Candy got. If you had a chance to read that story, you'll remember that this was a massive move for both of them, especially for Marvin, who had never flown on a plane before until he went to follow his wife. Now I check in with Candy to find out how much has changed since our last conversation. When we first spoke, they were a family of 3. They are now a family of 5 who has found themselves even more settled in this place they've lived in for over a decade. Candy discusses how her family has built a life out in the sticks, as she calls it. She also shares the ways they've stayed anchored to their Jamaican identity and what her children have gained growing up in such a unique space. You can take the girl out of Jamaica, but you can't take the Jamaica out of the girl. Candy is as fun as she's always been as she shares what she's learned and more in this episode of The Global Chatter. Hey Candy, how are you today?
Hey girl. It's been a while.
You know what? And we were just talking about that offline, and the fact that you were like one of our early stories on the site. And I believe it was before I moved to the Middle East. So y'all probably were
yes.
2016. I remember because I was sitting at my dining table in my old house, and I sold that house before I moved. So it's been like 4 years though.
Right, because my daughter was like 2, almost 3,
Right.
and she was an only child.
Oh my God, which we've got to get to in a minute, because I'm finding out all the information has changed since we last talked to you. So
We have a lot of catching up to do.
Girl, so let's break it down. Tell people where you're from and where you grew up.
Okay, so I'm from Jamaica. Big up, Jamaica. Yeah. I'm from St. Thomas, and my husband, he's from Kingston. Yeah, He's Kingstonian city
Nice.
people. So I grew up in the country. My family is very big. Like, we are big. We talk about Grand Spence St. Thomas. Yeah, that's my whole family. Growing up, from birth until my university days, I was only in Jamaica. But my family, they would travel, but not me. And I think mainly because I was scared of airplanes. I still am. But also because I had a boyfriend. I didn't want to go anywhere and leave my boyfriend at the time. So I was always home, and then I first traveled to the Bahamas and then to Canada, but it was always short visits, like a month, right? And then I couldn't find a job, so my sensei from University of Technology, she was like, "Oh, you should try English in Japan." And I'm like, "What? Where is Japan?"
Right. Especially from Jamaica.
Right, like in Japan. And she was like, "Yeah, I think you would do good." And no, Yoshiko-sensei, no, I'm not interested. But then after I left school and I couldn't find a job, I was selling life insurance. And for a year, and it was hard work. Like, I love selling, but it's hard work because you got to look cute and you got to wear all these high heels. And, after a while, like, your foot, they're going to pain you. Yeah. So I just got tired of it, and it was difficult too. Life insurance is difficult to sell because people think, oh, you're telling them, oh, they're going to die soon. Right. So after a year of that, we used to dial on, remember Yahoo Messenger? Yep. We would talk on that.
Girl, that's it. Hold on. You say Yahoo Messenger. Then people be like, what you talk about? Yahoo and AOL Instant Messenger. That's back.
AOL,
that's back.
right. MySpace. Like, she was really nice. And she she would keep saying that. And I said, okay, I'm going to try. And I tried the JET program, and I didn't get through the first year. My daddy was like, see, don't go anywhere. Just stay in Jamaica. Well, why you want to go all the way to China? And I'm like, Daddy, it's Japan. But
oh, no. No.
Even now, he'll still call me and say, how is China? I don't know. I don't live there.
Yeah.
And finally, I applied to Interact. It's another program like the Japan Exchange Teachers Program. Mm-hmm. And I got through, and I just went ahead with it. And my boyfriend at the time, well, my husband, but he was my boyfriend then. He was like, okay, you just go do a year and then you come back, right? Why don't we get married? I'm like, oh, no, I don't think so. But well, let's get engaged. I'm like, no.
He was trying to lock it down. I remember the two y'all went to this interview. He was trying to lock it down because this girl's going to Japan.
We've been dating forever. But I was not interested in getting married yet. Okay. And of course we're in the church. So he's like, we should just make it right. I got a nephew now and I want to show him things. Let me tell you, his nephew now is 20 years old. So
when he said that, he was 20?
No. His nephew, he was just born. And I'm telling you now, this month,
that nephew turned 20. Look, this man,
I came.
He was just trying to get it. He was trying to get it straight. Because, let's think about it, though. You were in Jamaica. You moving to Japan, or you on your way to Japan, or you are in Japan.
Right.
That's a long way.
That's a far way. Like, where the hell is that? Where in China is Japan? That's what we would joke. Where in China is Japan?
Wow.
So he came a year later. Yeah. And we've been here ever since. Yeah.
So let me jump in, because you said a lot of things that I think really jump out. Number one, you admitted, you said for you didn't really travel that much as a younger person. Right. You did go to the Bahamas, which is obviously a fellow Caribbean nation, and then to Canada, I believe.
Yes.
But so what was the challenge for you? I mean, as a Jamaican woman who really, we often interview people who have who grew up traveling, but what was sort of challenging for you making this move? I mean, clear across the world. I mean, they're so far from each other, Japan.
I think the first one is like job opportunities. Like there's nothing back home like to say, okay, you finished schooling, what can I do? And I had a lot of ideas. I'm going to become a bee farmer. I remember that. Like I started searching out equipment, like how can I get this? How can I get that? And the prices were sky high. I said, okay, I can't do the bee farming and I can't go into honey business. What I'm going to do? I started applying to, in downtown Kingston, you have like a lot of Chinese wholesale shops and stuff. I started applying to there. Applying there. And they were like, you have a university degree. What are you going to come down here and do? I'm like, but I need a job. And I started taking off my CXCs, and I just put my aunt's address. And still, I couldn't get a job. I would call the radio station. They had like programs that you could call in and ask for a job. I would call them, and my church friends, they would hear me on the radio looking for a job. Candy from St. Thomas, and I have this and I have that, and then I remember I called Miss Gluden. Like everyone in Jamaica would know Miss Gluden. And I remember calling her program trying to find something. So it's really job opportunities. There was just nothing there for young people.
Gotcha.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's pretty powerful. The fact that, you had to change addresses and maybe even take off the degree.
Trying to find anything.
Right. And I mean, I don't think we often talk a lot about the fact that a lot of Black people move, and this is not just Black people, but a lot of people in general move because of financial and employment, right?
Right.
I mean, I think we see a lot of conversation, especially from a Western narrative, where, people just knew that they wanted to live abroad and they moved, but I think in your case, you specifically were like, there was an opportunity in Japan. And so, so here's the thing. So you've grown up on one island and then you go to this other space. Now, tell people where you went, because I would imagine a lot of people are thinking you went to Tokyo, but that's not where you went.
Well, the first year, when I got the job, I landed in Tokyo, and the job was in like Yokohama. Yeah. And that's not too far from Tokyo. It's just on the KQ line, right? And then I got a school still in the Kanto area, but it's not exactly Tokyo. So going to Tokyo is just like one train. So it's not too far. But that was for a year. After that year, they didn't renew my contract. So here I am, halfway across the world with no one in my corner, and they didn't renew my contract. And guess what? The day they told me this on a Friday. I left that office like in a daze, like, what am I going to do? My husband was coming the next day. So he was landing at Narita the Saturday.
So wait, let's stop for a second. Okay. So you, for all intents and purposes, got let go from your job.
Right. They are firing me.
Was he at that time fiance, boyfriend, husband?
We had gotten married. Yeah.
Okay.
So by this time, he's coming to Japan, all excited. Oh, we've been apart for so long and we can't wait to see each other. And this is the news that I greet him with.
And you ain't got no job. Okay. And I wonder, I think I remember this from our initial interview on the site. First of all, he had never flown that far. Had he flown before this?
He has never been on an airplane.
So that was his first trip on a plane to come see his wife.
That was his first trip. I remember when he landed. Listen, when he landed, he was so excited. He said, Candy, did you know they have like TV on the airplane?
Oh no! Come through. You know what though? I've been flying since I was young, but it is always a joy when you get on a good flight though. Like you get on a good flight, it's always a joy, just the excitement people have.
Listen, he was so excited, and he was like, they even have a TV.
Right? Boy, don't they know? And you know what? When was this? Because I'm thinking, had we gotten to the TVs are in the back of the seats yet? Or is this still
right.
The ones that they
That's
dropped?
What he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah. It was on the back, right? So he was just so excited. And listen, everyone in Jamaica, they have their passport. So that's not the problem. Traveling is the problem, because passport privilege. Yeah. When our friends can get up and go have breakfast in Italy and go have dinner in London. Yeah. We can't do that. We have to first apply
for a
with
visa.
A bunch of papers, right? And you're probably going to get turned down because I should also tell you, I tried going to America like 5 times. 5 times.
You know what?
5 times.
That don't even surprise me. Down. Don't even surprise me, because I think until you've been on the other side, folks don't understand. And it's hard, especially if you're American or you're Canadian or whatever. You don't realize that sometimes people have tried multiple times, and that one time they get it is a big deal. It's not like
it's a big deal.
It's not like if I want to go to honestly, most places I want to go to, if I submit the paperwork, I'm going to get it. And in other places for me, I could show up and get the visa on arrival.
Right, on spot, right?
Right.
But not for Jamaicans.
Yeah.
My aunt got her U.S. visa like 3 years ago. Let me tell you, I couldn't sleep. She couldn't sleep. We were just so excited. Finally, you would think she had won the lottery, I'm telling you.
Right.
And this was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's how it is for us. But
so
I tried 5 times.
Girl, ain't no shame in your game. You tried. Is their loss? They said no. But okay, so he shows up at the airport. He's excited. He's seen TV on the plane, and you ain't got no job. So how does this go?
Right. Well, because he was so new, like I had been here like a year. So the fact that it was so new for him, like we were just all excited, talking again. I could finally speak my patois and, just all girly, excited. And then when we got on the train to go back home, I tried to tell him, but then he was like, Candy, why are there so many doctors on the train? I'm like, what do you mean doctors? Like, they all have on their mask and stuff. I'm like, no,
Man,
this is Japan.
The Japanese are ahead of their time, though. They were ahead of their time because it's 2020 and we in COVID here. And I'm in America.
And this was pre-COVID.
No, I'm in America. Like I said, they were well ahead of their time. They knew what was up.
So I tried telling him on the train, but then it didn't work. But when we started walking from the train station to my house, I started like telling him, but he was like very optimistic, like, you find another one. We just go back home. I'm like, no, go back home. No, I want to try and live here. Like, the opportunities are here. But in his mind, he was like, I'm just going to come. And when she's finished, we just go back home and start our marriage in Jamaica. But that's not where I was. Yeah. I want to stay, we're already here. Let's find a job here.
So can I ask, what was your husband doing in Jamaica in terms of work before he came to Japan?
Well, he was a bailiff, go around collecting on, he worked for a big furniture company, Quartz.
Okay.
So he had his job, and that was one of the reasons why he didn't want to leave. But I was trying to show him, like, can we build a family on your job and my job as a life insurance agent? Like, I don't think so. But he finally left it when he was going to come, but it took a lot of convincing. And when he got here and he couldn't find a job in like the first month, like we started having problems because if you know Jamaican men, they got to stay working because they got to pay bills. They got to take care of family. Yeah. And he didn't like the fact, the first month, right? The first month. He didn't like the fact that he wasn't working. And I'm like, I got this. I'm just going to try find another job after this one ends. Just chill. But I think month 3 came around and he was like, I'm just going to go back home. But I had already found a job. It wasn't the best, but it was still teaching it. But I was teaching at like four high schools. And I had moved away from the Tokyo area. So I had moved to the country. So this was all new beginning for us because it's our first time seeing snow. So we're experiencing a lot of things together as a couple. Yeah. But still, we were experiencing like a turmoil in the relationship because he wasn't working. But it was more on his hand because he was like, I just want to find something to do. Anyhow, finally he found a job. And it was at this time we had the big earthquake with Fukushima. Yeah. Right. He found a job and things just changed suddenly. Like things became better.
So let me ask you a follow-up question because that's something that I've been seeing in conversation and been having conversations with some Black expat women where often they are expats because of their job opportunity or career. And and you brought up something pretty powerful. And I don't think it's just Jamaican men, but I definitely could see culturally the challenge of, for your partner, they've either just come or they don't have the same opportunity, right? Like they've just come, so they don't have a job yet. So how do you think, obviously he eventually got a job, but how do you think, just even thinking back in general, couples kind of work through that? Like how do you work through, especially being on the same mission when you're in this new country and you don't have your family support?
I really don't know how we made it out.
Because, and that's fair.
Because it was difficult. Like we got to the point where we weren't even making love anymore. Like he was that down. And I remember we would go to the supermarket and I would give him my purse and he saw it as disrespectful. Yeah. That he had to take money from my wallet to pay for stuff. Yeah. So I just had to follow his lead. So sometimes I would come home and I would just put money down on the fridge, on the top of the fridge, because we had like a really tiny fridge. I mean, we're just starting life. So I would put it down on top of the fridge next to the bread. And if he wants to buy something, he can just take the money up and go buy it. Or if he doesn't, it just stays there instead of me like handing it to him like I'm his mama.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
so I had
true.
to just follow, or look and learn, try to guess, okay, don't do that. Don't hand him my wallet in the store, because then I'll look like I'm like the boss, or I'm like his mom giving him candy money or something.
Yeah, no, that's pretty powerful. I mean, I and I've heard similar things too, where I think especially when you come from cultures where a lot of times relationships are very defined in a specific way, especially between men and women. And the reason when I made my earlier comment, I even wanted to say beyond Jamaican men, because, you know, it could be the same thing with other Caribbean men. It could be with other African men. It could be with Black American men, depending on the culture they grew up. Like, I think for men, identity so much from Black expat men I've even talked to has come from work, right? And what you do with your hands. And so when you initially can't find something, man, it could be stressful.
It's like, and it was, and you could see it was taking a toll on him. And when he got that job, he got a little job teaching, it was like a cram school.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Amanda, when he would get paid, like he would like go pay all the bills, and it's a little bit of money. And I'm like, hey, Marvin, why don't you just save that? Because it's a little bit of money.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that he was paying a bill.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he wanted. And I understand it. Culturally, I understand it because I'm from the same culture. That's how my father would do. That's how my brothers would do. Yeah. So I understood it. But I wanted him also to know, hey, you don't need to put up a face with me. You know, you have your money, you save it because you're going to need it because it's a little bit of money. But he wasn't having it.
So he eventually got a job, and you, as you've talked about, you've been in education. And so talk a little bit about what you've been doing in education, and I guess in the context too of where you guys live now. So you are in what city in Japan?
Okay, so we're in northern Japan. Wait, when we moved from the Tokyo area, we moved to Niigata. Mm-hmm. When the earthquake happened, we were about to leave Niigata to come where we are now in Aomori. So, so we got that job. That job, they were looking for a couple, right? So that's how we applied for it. But I made a mistake. I applied as a single person. And when I got home that day, he applied as a couple. So they called us to find out, do you know each other? Because one person applied as this. And so we were like, oh, yeah, it's a mistake and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, oh, okay, we'll get back to you. I'm like, oh, I think we blew that one. And after the earthquake, they contacted us and said, okay, they wanted an interview with us. So we're like, oh, okay, nice. And they interviewed us on a Thursday. I remember this so well. They interviewed us Thursday at 12:30.
Okay.
and we both went to the library to do the interview, and we got the job. And we moved up at the end of March. So that's how we came to this. It's even more countryside. It's more in the sticks. But let me tell you, we love it up here. We really do. And we're happy at the school that we are, because we're now teaching at the same school.
Mm-hmm. And how is it different? So a lot of people listening will not necessarily know Japan, right? If they think of Japan, number one, they're going to think of Tokyo. They may think of some of the other bigger cities, but like Nagano. But how do they think, how is northern Japan and where you are different from the Japan that a lot of people see and think in the media?
First of all, when you hear about Japan, you think about, cars of the future, or things that are like way beyond, right?
Yeah.
Here, you still see VHS selling.
Oh, no, wait, did you say like VHS, the tape? Girl, Wait,
You're
seriously?
you still send faxes because I should fax a letter this week, tomorrow or Friday. So
Right.
you see people walking, you see people riding their bicycles, you see girls doing their makeup while riding their bicycles. Like, I have a bicycle. We call it Mama Chally, and I have one kid on the back and one on the front. So that's three of us on that bicycle. Like, you see a sea of bicycles everywhere you go. You see old women that are walking to their farms, and they're like 100 years old. And I'm not joking.
Oh,
They're like 100 years old. So you see a lot of kimonos, like the traditional clothing.
Yeah.
You see people that take a bath at the onsen a lot. Like, they don't use the bath like at their houses. They walk to, and that's every day, whether it's a summer, winter, spring, it doesn't matter. They go take a hot bath, right?
Wow.
So it's very different from Tokyo, but it's different in a good way.
Yeah.
Nature all around, like the buses, like one bus every hour.
Oh no.
one train every hour. In Tokyo, it's like one every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's different, but in a good way, and I like it. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it.
I mean, it sounds
very traditional.
I was gonna say it sounds very peaceful, and in many ways, you said you grew up in more of the countryside of Jamaica, right?
Right.
So I could see maybe there's some similarities that are comfortable.
Right. It's very comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. We love it. Like, I don't miss Tokyo. The only thing I would miss back in Tokyo is the fact that you would see more foreigners. Here, there's my family, and there's a Nigerian with his family. And
is that one family still there? Because we did that interview 4 years ago.
Yes. He's still here. And you know what? I went to see him yesterday because we started farming. My family started doing farming, and we went to give him like some bell peppers and some chili peppers. And he came downstairs in a robe. My daughter said to him, "Is that your pajamas?"
Oh no! So okay, because this is about to segue to something else I want to ask. So if y'all haven't read the interview, I wondered if we threw that in. Yes, we did. I remember I asked you this question about Black folks, and y'all said there's that one family. He's Nigerian, and he got a Japanese wife, and I believe the kids were biracial. So I remember that. Ain't no other families moved in since there, or is it still just okay? Well, y'all holding it down.
Same, yeah. And I'm teaching his daughter now.
Hey,
I'm teaching his daughter at high school now. Like,
you know,
he's still here. I just saw him yesterday.
So I guess that's kind of my next question is y'all. You know, y'all are obviously, there's your family, your husband is Jamaican, y'all Black Jamaicans, and then there's him.
Right.
And even that, I mean, and there's cultural differences, obviously him being Nigerian and
right. Yes.
And he obviously has a Japanese wife. But that being said, how do y'all, like for you, what does community look like? Because that question I think is always important, regardless of the Black person. Like, what does community look like, especially in your space where your community, for the most part, does not look like you and does not come from background.
They don't speak like us, because when we talk about community, you would think that the Nigerian guy is a part of our community. You could say he is, but we just don't see him. Like, so when you talk about community, it's the people around you, like my neighbor right here next to me. Mm-hmm. Like if I don't understand something, I can ask her. And when I say if I don't understand, I mean like what day is a garbage day? Stuff like that. Right. If I need to go to the library, and I will ask my neighbor, what kind of books you're interested in, or what kind of books can teach me about gardening or something like that. That's my community. My daughter's friends' parents, they are also a part of my community. Like, my community, they don't look like me. They don't speak like me. Their culture is different. And that's okay, because we can learn something from them. And I hope they're learning from us too, because they see how I discipline my kids, and they will always ask me about discipline. Like if I'm talking to, like if say I'm talking to a mom, one of the moms, and my daughter will say, mama, 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 blah, blah, and I will stop. And, do you see me talking? Yes, okay. You say excuse, and if you don't answer, then you wait. I'm talking. So they would, things like that would surprise them, and they would ask me about discipline, like how do we do it at home. So that is basically my community, just people, my daughter's friends and my neighbors, right? My school teacher, my coworkers at school, like they are also a part of my community, because when I get papers from the PTA and I don't understand, like that's where I have to go to them for them to explain, what is this, what is that, you should do this, you should go here, you should call this person, right? So that is basically my community. I would love if my community looked like me and have the same culture like me, so it would be easier, like rearing my kids, but it's not, and it's okay, because I'm happy.
Are there a lot of foreigners in your area, or no?
No. There's not. No. I'm trying to think outside of the Nigerian.
Right. God bless this man. One day I might need to interview him.
Right.
How long has he, this is a side note, how long has he been that you know that he's been in the area before you guys got there? How long has he been there?
I think he said it was like for 5 to 7 years before we got here. And we've been here about 7 or 8 years. Oh no, we've been here 10 years now. Oh my goodness.
So he's been there about 17, 8, because right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, before y'all got there, it was him.
He was here. Right. Yeah. We moved closer because, girl, we had to move out of the 1-bedroom. So we actually moved into his community now, so we can easily see him. Right. But before, we just, when we bump into each other, that's when we would talk, or he would ask me, how is your master?
Oh, God.
God.
Does he still have the Nigerian accent? Because I can hear it in my...
That's how he sounds. Like, I always say, Marvin, why does he always ask me that? How is your master? Like, you mean Marvin? Oh, he's good. He's
trying to ask. Girl, you don't know how much this is making me laugh. I'm sorry for y'all who are listening to this. There's so many things going through my head right now. We gonna find this man and get him on this podcast, because I feel like he got some stories. So obviously he's Nigerian. He speaks English. Do you guys speak Japanese?
No, we don't. So
you've been rocking and rolling with that Japanese?
Like let me tell you, you see, because Marvin and I are both Jamaicans, so it's so much easier to talk to each other in patois. Right. Like, you can express yourself so much better. So I think we just got lazy to communicate with the kids. It's with Asia, because she's getting older now, like her English has improved. I'm not going to say that. She's getting way good. So it's easy for us to communicate with her in English and to each other in patois. So we just never learned the language, and that is so bad. We really need to learn.
So your daughter, because we talked about language initially. So what would you say is her first language, or the language she's most comfortable in?
Definitely Japanese, and so is a 2-year-old. Like, that's all she sees. Yeah.
I feel like the Jamaican in you is like, my child's first language is Japanese. Deal with it.
Like, I'm not joking. Like, even tonight, Marvin was reading something, and I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. And he called her, and she was explaining to him that a lady came and she said she's very sorry. No, she said she's very, very sorry. I'm like, oh, okay.
So you got, I think this is the thing that more than anything else, most amazed me about y'all. I remember neither of y'all spoke Japanese. And then because of where you were, there's even a Japanese with a dialect, right? Because you're in the northern part. So it's not even just, you're from Tokyo, blah, 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 Japanese.
No.
It's also...
They speak Tsugaru Ben. That's the name of the dialect. And Asia speaks it too, but of course she would use it with, like, oh my gosh, yesterday we were at the park and she was playing with her friends. And I'm trying to understand, what is she saying to the little boy? And the guy I was with, like, he was saying, oh my gosh, her Japanese is so natural. She's even speaking to go to bed. And I said to him, is she talking about birthday? Because I heard something. And he said, yeah, she's telling him about something about her brother's birthday and her birthday and what is his birthday. I'm like, whoa, God is so good. Because I don't understand anything. But she was just so natural with the flow.
And so is she in I feel like I know the answer to this, but is she in a Japanese only speaking school?
Yeah. I mean, we're in the country.
That's why. That's why I said I figured
international, right? There's nothing international here.
So Japanese, you would say, is her mother tongue,
right? And if you hear my 2-year-old, like you will hear the Japanese too. Like, I mean, he's 2, so he's not clear, like, right? He would say things, and I'm like, is that
what
English or Japanese? What is he saying? And then I'll call Asia, and Asia would say, oh, he's saying the moon. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the word for moon. Yeah.
Oh,
the moon,
my gosh.
The moon.
So let me ask you this. So obviously the older child, so Asia's your oldest daughter who was born when we last talked, and she's comfortable in Japanese. How is she with her English and her patois?
Well, her English is getting better. I really try hard with it because, I mean, we don't have money for international schools and extra lessons and all that stuff. So I really put down, especially on Wednesday, like a night like tonight, would have been English lessons, and we could go for like 3 hours when my husband is not here, because on Wednesdays he does karate. And when I'm here, like, I'm boss, like I'm in my teaching mama mode. So I really stress it hard with her. For her patois is really a spoken language, so she'll pick it up here and there. So for it, we don't teach it to her. Of course, she will ask a question like, why do you always say wagwan to everyone? Like, wagwan. And I have to, like, explain, like, wagwan is the same like you would say to everyone you see on the road, konnichiwa. Right? So I don't teach it to her, but sometimes she will try to connect it with her language, Japanese. And I have to find a scenario like, when do you use it? Like, how do you use it? Right. So it's like that.
And I'm fascinated by that because language so much connects us to our cultures. And I think especially for kids who grow up in a culture that's different, obviously from your own, so from their parents, or from their overall ethnic background, it is such a powerful tool. I think especially when they visit the homeland or they visit relatives, right? Because they can't. And so that's the question. My next question is, have you guys, at least in the last time since we spoke, so we spoke officially in 2016, have you had a chance to go back to Japan, or has family visited?
To Jamaica.
Jamaica, sorry. Have you had a chance to go back to Jamaica, or has family visited you guys in Japan? And how does that work with now you have children, and how do they see themselves as Jamaicans, even though they're Jamaicans in Japan?
Right. That's a great question, because I should have said I think it was before my second son was born, the second child, we went to America, right? We went to America and Canada because I had a miscarriage and I needed to just get away a little bit, right? Yeah. So we took a family trip, the 3 of us, and we went to the U.S. and we went to Canada. And everywhere we visited, like I was seeing my brothers, my cousins, my university friends, and my cousins and more cousins, and all their kids. They would say, "Why does she speak so funny?" And they would laugh at her. Like she would laugh too, but she would always say, "They always saying I speak funny, mommy. Why?" And I'm like, "Because you speak katakana English, and katakana is the Japanese way of speaking foreign words." So they have kanji, hiragana, and katakana, 3 writing system, right? And katakana is used for foreign words. So instead of saying like hello, they would say hello, because that's how it's spelled in katakana, hello. So that's how she would speak. And I always say to her, "Asia, you speaking like a Japanese person. You're speaking katakana English." And she didn't get it until she went to America and Canada. And she saw my cousins like, "Oh, you speak so funny. You speak so funny." When we came back, she got really interested in learning English now. So
Okay.
that was one way how she connected. Like she also wants to show that she's Jamaican, so she wants to learn how to speak patois. So, "Mommy, when I go back, I can talk to my cousin in patois." I'm like, "Oh, okay, but you got to listen, because it's not something that you write down. You just got to listen to Papa and I speaking." So sometimes she will interrupt our conversations to ask, "Did you just say blah, blah, blah?" And we're like, "Yeah. Yeah, I think you're learning too much now, so we can't secretly talk." But that she wants to learn more and more. Right.
That's kind of cool, actually, that she naturally has that interest in wanting to learn, because and it'll be interesting to see as she grows up and as your other children, right? Because sometimes you may say, "Oh, it's too hard," or "There's no one here," but there is something, I think, cool in the fact that you and your husband speak it to each other. So it's almost like y'all have a secret language, and they want in on that secret language. Because then it keeps them very much tethered to you.
Very interested. Right.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, because she took it seems like your daughter took an experience that some children could have completely seen as negative, but she took it the other.
No. We laugh at each other. Like when we try to speak Japanese, like to her teacher, she laughs at us. And that's good. That's how I want her to look at things. Like she would laugh at us when we try to say simple things in Japanese. And we laugh at her when she tries to speak patois. And that's how we want it to be.
Aw.
Like, it's not bullying, but that's how we're going to clown you.
Right. Well, I mean, that's black folks, right? They're going to clown you regardless. I mean, either it's going to hurt or you're going to be like, "You know what? You're going to clown me. I'm going to clown you too." So we've obviously been talking about Asia predominantly as far as your children's concerned. So since we last spoke to you, you've had 2 more children. You've had 2 sons. And one thing that really stuck out to me as well from talking to you is that obviously you told us your story, your husband came over, but you guys had all 3 of your children in Japan.
Right here in the country.
So you did not have your children in Jamaica. Your children were born in Japan. What do you think? And I know it may be a little bit difficult for you to say because you haven't had a child in Jamaica, but what do you think has been a little bit different having your children abroad, and just in terms of the experience in the hospital or the doctors or the care? What do you think's good? What do you think is bad? What do you think is just different?
Just by remembering what my friends would go through, like at the hospital, like I think here, the care, like I was telling one of my friends, like it doesn't matter if you had 1 kid or 3 kids or 5 kids, like you have to stay in the hospital for a week. It doesn't matter. When I had Asia, like it was fine. Like, okay, I'll stay here for a week. But after the second one and the third one, I'm like, really? I'm almost a professional. They're like, no, you have to stay here a week.
I'm almost a professional.
The aftercare, the aftercare was also like top notch. Like I think they go out of their way just to make sure you're comfortable. And it could be the fact that we are foreigners and we're here by ourselves, but I was really impressed, and I was comfortable, and I was scared, of course, but they just kept like reassuring us, you guys are safe. And you know what's funny? I sometimes teach adults, and two of the students, they were doctors, and they came in operating theater, and they were like, "Candy Sensei, do you remember me?" And I'm right there on the table. I'm trying to get the like, it was like the most uncomfortable, and they were just like so happy and like, "Oh, it's so and so, and it's so and so," and like, "Oh, thank you for coming. Sorry, I'm not dressed."
Right. Sorry, y'all. I'm on the table with all my stuff out, but nice to see you.
So they really try. My school, like, they will come and visit because they know it's only us. Like, it's only Marvin and I. Like, we have no one else here. Yeah. So the care, it's really good. My second son, he's named after the doctor, Dr. Kanji. Like, he delivered all my kids. So I named my son after him. So the care is really good. Like, of course, because our bodies are bigger, so they are always like, "Oh, you should diet, you should lose weight. You're pregnant, you're supposed to be gaining weight." Like, stuff like that. But other than that, no, it's good. It's good.
I mean, that's a pretty interesting valid point you've brought up, in the sense that, bodies are different. And so the types of bodies that just because of what's available ethnically, right? Bodies just look very different depending on where they're coming from.
First thing, when they see you, the first thing, especially Dr. Kanji, I walk into the office, "Oh, Candy-san, daieto." So the moment I go in the office now, I'll say the same thing. "Oh, daieto. I know. But it's good. I just don't let them stress me.
Right.
I'm pregnant. Come on.
I mean, man, if you had to deal with some American bodies, boy.
I don't think they would understand. Oh, and also for the birth of the third one, they were saying, "Oh, okay, you can stay awake for the surgery," because they're all C-section. And they were like, "Okay, I think you can stay away. We will just try to give you more than the normal Japanese person, right? Because your body is bigger." Like, "Okay, yeah, thank you." So
I'm aware.
They tried, right? So they tried, but I still had feelings. So they had to eventually put me to sleep. That was pretty scary.
Yeah.
But they just really try to go above and beyond. They really try. Maybe it could be because we're foreigners. I don't know.
Or they could
just be the normal
nice people.
What they normally do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, they would help my husband. The head nurse, she said, "So your husband are taking care of the two kids at home by himself? Who is going to cook for him?" Like, they want to know stuff like that. I'm like, "My husband cooks. I don't cook. He's fine. He's okay." Like, they are really, maybe they're just fascinated.
They might be. Know. They're like, "Wait a minute, husband's cooking.
A man that cooks, right?"
They're like, I'm not cooking even if I wasn't pregnant. This is not me.
Like, that's how they were just so concerned. And they were also saying, "Remember, you're a woman." With my first child, "You're a woman now, so our bodies will know when to wake up when the baby cries. Your husband's body didn't go through this, so let him sleep." And I'm like, wait, I didn't make this baby by myself.
Exactly. In fact, his body, you're right, his body didn't go through it. Therefore, he should be awake.
He can get up and go get the baby.
And I laughed because Marvin, when we talked about the birth of your first child last time, he remembered being concerned about the C-section because y'all are island folks. And so, you wear swimsuits.
And you wanted to make sure how it was going to be cut. Was that still a concern with baby 2 and baby 3 that came very closely after baby 2?
Very close. I think with baby 3, we were more concerned that it was so soon after baby 2. Yeah. So that's where our focus was, right? Because it was too close.
What's the how many months after you had the first the second child did you have or get pregnant with?
If my math's correct, I think we got pregnant in December, and the boy's birthday would have been the January.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
I know his pullout game was so not strong. Come on. but you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's because it was Chris. Oh, you did ask about family members coming to visit. So his dad was here. His dad was here, and his nephew. And remember, before we were in a tiny 1-bedroom, right? Yeah. So that's what.
Oh, no.
So his dad, his nephew, Asia, me, and Marvin. So that's 6 people in a 1-bedroom.
Wow.
But let me tell you, it was so nice every night talking. And that was also a part of why Asia was really interested in learning Patois too. Because we just sitting down talking, reminiscing about,
Gotcha.
Right. And she got that. So his dad was here, and his dad left. His dad and his nephew, they were here for 3 months. And,
wow.
3 months.
No, you hold on. Stop.
1-bedroom?
Stop. Back up. You said they came to visit. And I said, when you said 3, I thought, okay, they're far away, probably in Jamaica or somewhere west, probably 3 weeks. Ma'am, no. I did not expect 3 months.
Listen, that airplane is expensive. Like,
I know it's expensive.
You know how much it costs, right? So
they spent a quarter. They spent a quarter of the year in your 1-bedroom. Let me put it that way.
1-bedroom apartment, yes. And we all slept on the floor, and the kids on the bed. And sometimes I would go on the bed, and listen, it was a nice 3 months. I'm not gonna lie, but of course you can't do anything.
Right.
So when they left, girl, that December we were just
And I'm going to say this, I'm laughing because I'm a September baby. And I say this to people all the time.
You can tell, right?
Those of us that are September, October, November babies basically are Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day conceptions. So when you said your son's birthday was
happy.
You said your son's birthday was 3 days after mine. Like, that child's a December.
December
you
know what we were doing. Like, they were here for 3 months. And
wow.
Let me tell you. And we also moved into this house because now we're renting a house.
Okay.
Because we were like, we're making money. Let's get out of this 1-bedroom. We've saved enough. So we got a car. We upgraded. We got a car.
You upgraded your life in Japan.
We got another bicycle.
Hey, look, I might come and visit. Y'all playing.
You should. And then we said, you know what? We're going to rent a bigger house. So we rented a bigger house because we really saved. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
We save a lot.
How many bedrooms is this house now?
This one is a 3-bedroom, and we are so happy. We just go in here and there and
kids got space. Girl,
they got space.
Joking. I will show up when this COVID is done. I'm in America, so they got us on lockdown here a little bit in America. But like, whenever we are free,
and Japan is still closed too. It's still closed, I think.
Yeah, but y'all ain't nowhere near a mess what we dealing with. We on a whole nother level. Just by population, we're somewhat. It's so much, but oh my goodness! So y'all are renting a house now. You got a car.
Right. Yeah, we got a car.
You got bicycles?
We got bicycles now.
I might be there in the spring.
I have 2 bicycles.
I might be there in the spring.
You can borrow one. Yeah. Like, we really upgrade. Like, before we only had 1 bicycle.
Yeah.
So I would ride with Asia, and Marvin would walk. And then a guy gave us another one. So we both balling now in our bicycles. These are pretty old bicycles. These are pretty old, right?
Yeah.
But now we were like, okay, let's buy a car. So we bought a car, and then we rented this bigger space, and we're living large.
So let me ask you this. Are you, I mean, I guess if you think about your life, it looks a lot different than if you'd stayed in Jamaica, right?
Yeah. Back home, yeah, I think it would have been very different, especially if Marvin and I were living our marriage back home. It would have been difficult finding a job and living a lifestyle that providing for your kids how you want to provide for them. Like, it would have been very different.
Yeah.
And not only in a bad way, not necessarily in a bad way, but yeah, it would have been very different. Here, you have more opportunities. Like, now my daughter, she takes violin lessons, she takes piano lessons, she's snowboarding, she's skiing, she's doing swimming.
Come on, black little girl.
Yeah, right.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, when I see her snowboarding, I'm like,
first of all, you're from Jamaica. But second of all, she's snowboarding.
Right.
Come through, little black girl.
Like, I always, like Marvin and I, and that's the good thing about like having a partner from your culture.
Yeah.
Like, we always talk about that. Like, did you even imagine this? Like, I mean, we're sitting down right around the heater and she's out in the snow. Like, would you even imagine this? So
no,
the opportunities are like a lot here. Oh, and she also takes Chinese classes because we went to China for a month. She came back and she wanted to learn it. Wow. And I started her out on YouTube. So I said, okay, if she's still with it after a month or so, we'll go find a tutor. And she was. So we got her a tutor. Like, wow. Okay. So the opportunities are here.
Can I say, I just love the fact too that y'all named her Asia.
That's Marvin. That was all Marvin. I didn't even want a girl. I
love the fact that you named her Asia and your little girl is speaking fluent Japanese, learning Chinese, trying to get that English on lock, get the patois, and is snowboarding. And play the violin. I love the fact that she's named Asia. I
didn't even dream this would be possible. Like, please.
Y'all.
But let me tell you, it's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited about their future. Not only Asia's, but I mean, like, my 3 brown babies. I'm so excited about their future. Like, what is their future going to be like? People not going to be able to tell them silly stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna, they're gonna be smart kids.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man, no, that's pretty badass.
I'm excited about there. Yeah, I'm really excited.
What would you say? You know, I started off and maybe early on thinking about the fact that you are Jamaican and you guys are basically making it right in a country where it's completely different from where you grew up. What would you say, just like looking back, are the things that folks really need to consider when they're leaving home for the first time, as both of you did, and are living somewhere so different?
The first thing that comes to mind is learn your culture. When I came here, like, I was so shocked that people actually know stuff about Jamaica that I didn't know or I didn't care to know. Like, they would ask me something, maybe say about coffee, coffee to drink. And I would be like, Blue Mountain coffee. Yeah, it's from Blue Mountain. And they would start talking and I wouldn't know what they're talking about because that is not something that I was interested in as a Jamaican, right? But they, being outside of the country and being so interested in it, like, it makes me wanted to like learn more about my own culture. It sounds bad, but it's so true. And the other thing would be, don't take everything that you read, because you hear so much stuff about this particular country, and then you come here with those like preconceived ideas, like, oh, they do this, they do that. Come here and experience it. Like, don't just get it from a book. Because I've been here like 12 years, and there's some stuff that I still don't even know, and I'm amazed. Like, wow, they do this here, and I've been here this long, and I didn't know that. Like, don't come thinking, I know this. I I read it and it must be true. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
If you're going to come here with your partner, make sure you guys are on the same page for what you want. I can't even stress that enough.
Wow.
They're on the same page, it makes it different. Like I would say to Marvin, like, come on, we're on the same team, so we have to make sure we do this. And he would always correct me and say, no, we are the team. We're not on the same team. We are the team. So if you do something, I need to know that you are thinking for me if I'm not there. And if I'm doing something, I'm going to think of you the same way. So make sure you're on the same page with each other. That is so important, and that makes it easier. When I talk to my friends that are married to a local, that's the problem that they always have. Like the differences in culture, like when you do something, why do you do it this way? It's not supposed to be done this way. I know it should be done this way. And then that small thing just develop into something bigger. And it could be something as simple as how you do the laundry. It could be something as simple as that, right?
Wow.
So make sure that you guys are on the same page, because Japan is nice. Like, I enjoy it. Now my husband didn't want to come, and now he's the reason we're not leaving. Not that I want to, but he's always the one like, oh, I think I could stay here more. I think I could stay longer. I don't think we're going to leave now. So we are enjoying it, and he was the one who didn't want to come.
Do you see yourselves staying in Japan for as long as you have already, or at least, because you guys at this point have been there about 13 years, do you still see yourself staying there for a good long while, or do you see yourself going somewhere else?
Going somewhere else? No, I don't see that. I think, and the fact that also my job, I'm now permanent at my job. So I'm not worried about, are they going to renew my contract this year or what? So the fact that that is not on my head, like I'm more comfortable now where we're thinking about, maybe we should start looking into like buying a house. That's where we are thinking now. So I don't think we're going to leave here anytime soon. And my kids, this is home for them. This is yard for them. Like when my husband and I talk about yard, we always talk about yard and we talk about home. And for us, Japan is home and Jamaica is yard. But for my kids, this is yard. So I don't think we're going to leave anytime soon to go back to our yard. We're just going to stay at our kids' yard where they're comfortable, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, and what I love about all of y'all is that you just, man, you got a story that's just different than some other expat stories, and the fact and how you ended up where you are, but it's worked out. And it's worked out, and it's cool to see how it's worked out. And I know it hasn't been perfect the whole time. I know there's been struggle. Obviously, you talked about struggle, but it's pretty cool to see it play out, because like I said, most people don't find themselves in rural northern Japan, and a place where they don't speak the language and they don't speak the dialect, and are like the only ones who kind of look like them. But y'all making it work. You're making it work.
Yeah, we have to. And let me tell you, we are enjoying it. You remember in The Color Purple when she saw that other girl and she was running to her? Like, when we see another brown person, that's how I feel. I mean, I think
that's the general sentiment, though. If you somewhere where there are no brown people, you see one, you're like, look, you know what? I was in... This is a bad example because there are a ton of brown people, but I was in Argentina in the north at the falls, and there were all these tourists. Nobody else was black, but I was crossing this walkway, and there was this family of brown people, and when we looked at each other and smiled, I didn't even know if they spoke English, okay? I don't even know where they weren't necessarily American or whatever, but the way we were teasing and grinning, we were like, yeah.
You would think we knew each other for a long time.
It was insane. I was so excited. I said, you know what, to myself, them people probably don't even speak English, but you know what? It's okay. We understood. It was this. I remember.
We are right.
Right. We understood. We were like, yeah, we here. We here.
We here, and I see you, and that's it. Sometimes, like, we just don't stop like at a nod. No, we go over. We say hello. Listen, I saw a brown man, and I saw him with two little kids, and you could tell they're half Japanese and half whatever he is. Right. So I said, "Hi, how are you?" And my husband said, "Hey, wagwan," and he said, "Where are you from?" And we said, "Jamaica." And he said, "Oh, I'm from Fiji." And I had a Fijian friend. And I said, "Oh, Bula, Bula." And he was just so happy that I said his language. And I was so happy too, because that's the only thing that I knew.
Right. Man, when you see brown and black people from places, you just like, hey.
And he, he was just so excited to see it, and we were just so excited to see him and his two little kids. Like, we didn't care what brown you are.
And my favorite part, the people who walk by and think y'all really do know each other, because they're like, don't. I'm like, I just met them, but clearly, I don't even know what country they from, but clearly
they're from. Like, we have a connection, and I hear people talk about, "Oh, I'm from New York. We don't just call to strangers." I'm like, when you're in a foreign country, I don't care where you are. I'll give you a hug too, because I need that hug.
And you know what? That's true, because even if you're from a city like New York, where maybe people don't do that, and they do it down here in the South where I'm at. If you go to a different country, especially if, like in my case, I've been traveling around. I didn't speak Spanish or Portuguese. I just didn't see anybody in the places I was going, in certain places that look like me. When you see someone who does look like you don't care where they from,
so excited.
You don't care that back home maybe people don't even do that. You just excited.
Right. You are just so excited to see someone, and especially when you have kids, Amanda. Yeah. Like, your kids want that connection too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I forgot. There's a Trini girl here. Oh, how could I forget Miss Trini? There's a Trini girl here too. So I always take my daughter around her. And when we see each other, we would hug. And my daughter will always, "Why do you always hug Miss Maria?" I say, "Because I love her."
Because she Trini. And she look like me. Don't matter if she's darker or lighter. She look like me.
Right. And I always want her to be around us to see how we act with each other, because with the Japanese, their personal space is like
different.
Very right. So I want her to see how we talk, how we touch when we talk. Like, we touch each other's hair, like we hug, or we talk, we clap, we hit. When we are excited, we jump. Like, I want her to see that, to know that is normalcy to her. Right. Yeah. That's very expressive.
Girl, that's such a good
things
point.
Like that are important to me. Yeah.
So before we close out, I want to do something with you that I've been doing with everyone, which I call basically the lightning round. And it's just, I ask you 3 questions and you just give me the responses that come off the top of your head.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
And this is what everybody says. Oh, God. I'm like, no, this is not supposed to be stressful. Everything else you said could have been seen as stressful. This should just be normal as normal can be. So, all right. First question. So, of course, you're in Japan. What's your favorite Japanese dish?
Oh, Lord. Well, I like, if I say sushi, that's going to sound so Japanese. Okay, I like udon, and udon is like the noodle thing. Yeah, I like udon.
I mean, why didn't you want to claim the sushi?
Because sushi is just so Japanese-y. Like,
but
everyone...
But you're in Japan.
Okay, I really like sushi. And my daughter wanted sushi today, and my husband was like, "No, I cook, so you better eat what I cook." But sushi, I really love sushi. Yeah. And I mean the cheap sushi, because you can go get sushi for like $1, 100 yen sushi, and it's so good.
Wait a minute.
So yeah, I like sushi.
I mean, since you mentioned your husband cook, what is your husband cooking in the kitchen? Is he cooking Jamaican food?
Oh no, today he cooked cabbage because I planted cabbage and he went and he got it. So he cooked corn. If you know anything about Jamaican food, it's cornmeal dumpling and cabbage mixed with salt fish. Everybody in Jamaica know that food.
Yeah. I was, and now you got me on a whole different train, right? So are y'all able to make? Because now I'm just hungry. Are y'all able to make like jerk chicken and oxtail and all that, given where you are? Or do you
of course.
I'm just gonna say, do you have okay. I'm just asking.
Right now, I'm looking at jerk sauce. Well, let's be truthful. Like it's jerk sauce that he bought. Like he didn't make it, but
okay.
We have jerk sauce. When his father came with one suitcase of seasoning. My husband loves to cook, and I love to eat. So, girl, he's always cooking. And today he cooked cornmeal dumpling and the cabbage mixed with salt fish. Yesterday he cooked stewed chicken and rice.
Wow.
Yeah, we have seasoning. Like seasoning. Yeah, he got it.
Because I always tell people when they're going abroad and they ask me, what should I think about? I said, this is going to sound crazy, but it's the truth. Take your seasonings. Because until you know where to find them in your new place, if you can, right, that's the one part that's going to keep you really connected to home, especially right. That you want to have your seasonings that you can cook with. So
seasoning is just as important as like my hair products. Like my hair products are for me. His seasoning, they're for him. Yeah.
No, my sister, when I was in the Middle East, no joke, one suitcase literally was just seasoning.
Yeah, just seasoning only. Yeah, that's what his father came with. Seasoning only. And we still got a lot. We still have curry. Like we still have our Indian curry from back home.
Oh, you ready? Look,
yeah.
I'm trying to get this Jamaican Japanese fusion food dish. I need to come see y'all. All right. Second of all, thinking about this. So we actually were talking about that. I was going to say, what's your husband's favorite thing to cook while Jamaican thing to cook though, while y'all living in Japan?
I think it would be porridge because when you are poor in Jamaica, like porridge is something that your parents can easily put together, like cornmeal porridge, especially not oatmeal or anything like that. Cornmeal porridge, like that was poor people's food. And I think that's what he loves to cook because at 10 o'clock at night, I'll say, "Ooh, I feel for some porridge," and he'll get up and cook porridge. Like, I would never do that. I would never get up and cook 10 o'clock at night, and especially porridge. So I think he loves doing porridge with coconut milk in it. Mm-hmm. So that smell just brings you right back to your childhood days. And when his father was here, that's what his dad would get up and cook in the mornings. And you would see my husband as a big grown man sitting down eating porridge from his dad. So that was just so cute too. So I think he loves cooking porridge. Yeah.
All right. Last question. This one might be a little bit of a challenge. So if we take Japan and we take Jamaica out of the mix and it didn't matter, let's control for like paperwork. Where do you think you guys would live?
Canada.
Why?
Healthcare and the fact that it is so diverse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's where we would go. One of our friends, they were in Japan. They're from Rwanda, and they just moved to Canada. And she was like, "Oh, you guys should come here. It is so much better than Japan. It's so different." I really get what she means. Like, the fact that you can see people different kind of, because, here it's just Japanese.
Of course, right? I mean, because it's Japan,
Right. So the fact that you can see, and it's close to home, I think that's most important for me. You can quickly go home and not like these long flights. Like it's like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So I think we would move there.
And I think what's interesting is that Japan probably could also give you, of course, that strong Caribbean community. as well as that strong Southeast Asian. You probably could find a Japanese community, and you know what I mean. Given the country. So, the other thing that made me chuckle was that, woman, you grew up in the warm climate, but look at you adjusting.
And where are we living?
And where you with Jews.
Right. Like, we talk about it all the time. We laugh about it all the time. Like, what are we even doing here? Like, it's cold but let me tell you, we got heat. We got a heater in every room and downstairs.
Yeah.
So three heaters upstairs, because they don't have central heating here. There's no centralization here. So we got a heater in every room. We have a heated blanket on every bed. And the heaters run right through the winter. So our bill is high, but we're warm. And that's the most important thing. Like, my kids, they were like, oh, I'm too hot. No, not us. We're Caribbean people.
You're Caribbean people.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Candy. As always, you crazy, but you funny.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's so good talking to you, though, catching up.
And I totally appreciate. And so thank you for spending your time with us. All right.
Yeah. Sorry. Only this time, like, only me could talk, because, Marvin upstairs with the baby trying to keep them away, because they will just be chatting. Want to chat to Miss Amanda. Who is Miss Amanda? I want to talk to Miss Amanda. She has a cousin. Is her mommy alive? That's the question they ask. So.
The Global Chatter from the Black Expat is hosted by me, Amanda Bates. It is executive produced by Justin Williams. You can find all episodes of The Global Chatter on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcast.